Hey everyone, welcome to the 2016 SFL SIFTD Fantasy League Draft. That's right, this year it's Matt Kyle versus Shane Satterfield for the SIFTD crown. I am the reigning champion.
And I am in my rookie year.
And I am going to stay that way, and I'm going to...
Yeah, good luck.
Going back to back, baby. I will say one thing, Matt, you are much more prepared than Marcus was. You actually put together a list.
By which you mean I was prepared.
Yeah, exactly. You actually showed some motivation and gumption. Just to let you guys know how this works, in case some of you guys didn't see how it worked last year, Matt and I have actually already drafted because we need to have footage ready to go for each of our picks. So we actually do know what our picks are and what our teams are already. However, we're going to give an explanation for our picks and why we decided to pick one game over another as we make each of the picks and we share them with you guys. So how it worked was Matt trusted me enough to flip a coin to decide who got the first pick.
One of the few human beings on this planet I would trust to flip a coin, honestly, over text message, by the way. But I know that I think Shane Satterfield is one of the most obsessed with fairness people I know.
I am really that way.
So I knew he would not do anything untoward.
I am really that way. And so I did flip the coin, and my wife was there as a witness, and I made her come and watch. And Matt won the coin toss, so he got the first pick of the draft. So Matt Kyle, with the first pick of the SFL 2016 Fantasy Draft, who do you select? Or what game do you select?
I select The Witcher 3, Blood and Wine.
Woo! Woo-hoo. I gotta say, Matt, when that text message came through, I was like, wow. I never would have even thought to pick that game.
I was wondering if you were going to disqualify because
it is a little dicey. So when you first said it, I was like, wait a minute, he can't really pick that. But then I remembered last year I took like StarCraft II Legacy of the Void, which is a little different because
it's standalone.
Legacy of the Void was kind of a standalone game, but at the same time I was like, you know what, you kind of outfoxed the fox on that one, so I let it stand. So why did you pick this, Matt?
I picked it because...
First overall pick, by the way.
First overall pick because I think it's going to review exceptionally well. Yeah. Because everybody loved The Witcher 3. It's got like 170 Game of the Year awards, and the word on the street, and by street I mean that little stone path that Geralt runs down between the brothel he owns, is that the Blood and Wine expansion is better than the main game, story-wise.
That's what they've been saying, but that's what the developers have been saying.
Yeah, but the developers...
And of course they're going to say that because they want people to...
These developers are pretty on the ball when it comes to their own shit, though.
Yeah, so they're pretty honest. They wear their own T-shirts to award ceremonies.
Yeah, well, react in GIF-worthy manners.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think this is going to be more... Yeah, at the very least, this is going to be more of the same, and it's going to... I think this is going to be a 90-something Metacritic on this thing. So, if you were going to let me have it, I was going to take it.
Okay, and I did let you have it, and you did take it.
I did.
So, now we're to my first pick. My first pick, and I got to say, I was very, even though that's a good pick, I was like, oh, he was pretty smart in picking that. I was very happy that I was allowed to pick what I would have taken first overall, and that game is Persona 5. And first...
I was surprised this was your first pick.
Why would you say that?
I don't know. Like, for one thing, I
keep in mind, and maybe we should have said this before we started, this whole thing is, it's not what game we think is going to sell the best.
It's Metacritic.
It's at the end of the year, we take all the games we picked, and we add up all their review scores aggregate from Metacritic, and then whoever has the highest number total from all 10 games wins the league. So, I think Persona 5 is going to get tons of perfect 10s, and is going to settle in at like a 9.5 to like a 9.7. Because what happens is every website, publication, magazine, whatever, they have like their JRPG guy. Because the typical reviewers do not want to spend 70 or 80 hours playing a JRPG for one review. So they have their go-to guy. And I guarantee their go-to guy is so geeked out for this game that they're going to splooge all over it. Now, I actually picked this game in last year's draft.
Yeah.
And it was one of the games that burned me. So one thing I will say generally with my strategy this year is I was a lot more conservative. Like, what you realize after doing it for the first year is there's nothing more important than the game coming out. Because look, like I picked Persona 5 last year. I could have picked some crappy game that got like a 4 out of 5.
That's
and I
still
still
40
would,
more points.
Right. I still would have done better if I had picked that 4 out of 10 games. So that's my point. Like this year I went really conservative. I tried to make sure I picked games that I knew were coming out. And here's some more information. I was waiting in line for the after party for the Game Awards in Los Angeles. And I just so happened to be standing next to somebody who knows a lot about this game. And that's all I'm going to say. And we had a conversation, and I was assured that this game is coming out in 2016, without a doubt, 110% sure. And so that, coupled with the fact that I think this game is going to be reviewed through the roof, made Persona 5 my number 1 pick. And Matt, now it's you for your second pick.
Second pick, Uncharted 4, A Thief's End.
That's a good, safe pick.
I don't see this reviewing badly. Let's put it that way. I think a Naughty Dog game is pretty much bulletproof on the reviews. It's
because the first game did like an 89, I think, but then each one after
Each one
that kept
better.
going up. Yep.
And you're still riding high off The Last of Us. Critical darling, community darling. Everybody loved it. I think at this point Naughty Dog can do no wrong in a lot of ways, and I think even if Uncharted 4 is terrible, the reviews are still going to be 9 out of 10. So it's I don't.
No, you're right.
I don't know if anyone will dare give this thing.
No, you're absolutely right.
So I think it's a pretty safe call.
Yeah,
So
that was
my number 2 pick.
That was my number 2 pick. Somebody made a point in the chat though.
I thought you were going to pick that after I picked my Witcher. I was like, should I get the? Because the other thing was like I was hoping I didn't know if you had also thought of the Witcher the way I did. I'm like that would be like a really smart move. So I'm like, I just assumed that was maybe your first move too. So I decided to jump on The Witcher and let you have Uncharted 4, and then you picked Persona 5, and I was like, whoa!
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Like somebody mentioned in the chat, and you just kind of answered it actually, is that you could, and this is a strategy you use in fantasy drafts in anything, whether it's football, hockey, video games, trying to figure out where that player or game is going to go. So someone in chat was like, Matt could have got that later. Meaning that, like, I probably never would have thought to pick that game, and you probably could have picked that at, like, pick 10.
Yeah.
And so the strategy involved there. Just so, I know some of you guys on SIFTD are actually doing your own leagues, so I'm just trying to help you guys with some of the strategy as you do your own drafts. So, yeah, you probably could have got that deal.
Possibly, but
even though it's a really smart pick.
If you thought of it, I knew you'd go for it, because I think that game's going to be like a 98. Or something. I think Blood and Wine's gonna be like a 98.
But on the same token, like based upon what you said about Persona 5, I probably could have got that
later. Persona 5 was actually an alternate.
Wow. Well, there you go. I could have got it much later too.
Yeah.
So all right. So now it's up to me for my second pick,
which it also kind of goes into like next year's draft. Now that we know how we think a little bit more,
right.
It's going to be even more.
Yeah, and it's the same thing in fantasy football. Like you start to learn the other owners in your league. Like some owners are always going to go for a quarterback earlier than somebody else, and you have to think about that and adjust to it. So my second pick, and I'm really happy about this one to get it with number 4 overall, is Mass Effect Andromeda. Every Mass Effect game has finished at Metacritic with at least a 92. This is the first one on the next generation of consoles. I know BioWare's not going to screw this game up. It's not like it's changed developers or it's gone to some new team. Like they may have lost a writer or something. Like it's the same team making the game. I'm a little nervous. I have about a 10% nerve rating on maybe it doesn't make it out this year. But the upside of it coming out, it probably will be one of the top 3 games reviewed this year, I believe.
I have like a 10%, because I thought about that one, and I was worried it wouldn't make it this year, but I'm also worried that after the Mass Effect 3 debacle, reviewers are going to hit this thing hard and possibly unfairly.
Could be. I don't know.
I don't think it's a sure thing, but I think it's a good pick.
Mass Effect 3 still finished with like a 93.
Yeah, but that was before everybody went ape shit over them for giving it that because they thought the ending sucked. So in the new one, I think people are going to be they're going to be much more conservative in how they rate it because they're going to have that in the back of their mind.
No, I don't think so. We'll see. Interesting theory, but I don't believe it. because they.
I don't trust any of these fuckers.
All right, Matt, your third pick.
My third pick is XCOM 2, which I think is about as bulletproof a review game you're gonna get. I mean,
that's money in the bank.
Yeah. I even asked.
That's 90 in the bank.
Yeah, that's a 90 in the bank, 90 plus in the bank, no question. I mean, I even asked Shane when I picked it, is it okay to pick it this close? Because the reviews aren't coming out, but the preview stuff is kind of hitting critical mass, and you can see. I mean, this game's gonna be great.
Yeah,
there's no way around it. So,
well, on the same token, The Witness. Neither one of us drafted The Witness. I intentionally didn't draft it because I felt like I'd be cheating because I had kind of talked.
I feel like reviews are too close for that.
Well, I had actually talked to people who were playing it, and they were like, dude, it's awesome. I'm going to give it a mega score. And so, I think I would have been okay with you drafting it because you probably hadn't had that conversation, but I personally felt like I couldn't do it. I'd be cheating. So
I just felt it was too close.
But look, now... We wish we
would have been well,
that'd have been a good pick now.
Oh, well.
I mean, some sites are giving that game a perfect 10, so...
But it also makes it a little more interesting to not pick stuff that's happening already.
Yep. All right, so my third pick is No Man's Sky.
Woo!
And again, this is a game journalists have been... And I mentioned it in the Game Face that we just recorded. Journalists have been going off about this game. It is the journalistic darling. Everyone's freaking out over it. I have no doubts. Even if I think this game is boring as crap and I play it for 2 hours and never want to play it again, it's going to get at least a 9 out of 10, a 90 total. So I'm really confident with that pick. At number 3, it's obviously coming out. It's going to make it out this year. Out.
I think, as someone who's most looking forward to that game over everything else in the world right now, I think that game's going to be a huge divisive. I think it's going to be I think you're going to be getting 4 out of 10s. I'm going to be getting 10 out of 10s. I think it's going to be all over the map.
That's dangerous.
I think the average is going to.
That's dangerous because if that's the case, it could end up being an average of a 6.5.
Yeah,
that could kill my season.
It would not surprise because I think there's going to be an equal division between people who think it's the greatest thing of the year and people who just don't get it.
People like me.
It's bullshit. They're this game is bullshit, and you have all been fooled.
Yeah.
It's gonna get in arguments like The Witness. I think.
I feel like there could be a couple people like that. I think the vast majority, and I mean, let's be honest. You never find a game that really is split 50-50 of people that are this is a fraud and this is amazing.
But I think if enough of the major, maybe Eurogamer and Polygon and maybe...
I'm counting on the few people who are trying to take a stand and be I'm different to bring it down to the 90.
Right.
Because the other thing I noticed from doing our league last year is that at the end of the day, or the end of the year, as it were, there's only 3 or 4 games that end up over a 90 aggregate. So once you get to your third pick, you're just kind of hoping you get up over that 90. All right.
Yeah.
Your fourth pick.
Oh, real quick though, if I can answer a chat question.
Sure.
My shirt is the Decepticon logo, but the words it says are "You are being deceived." And that's a reference to the current IDW Transformers comics, which are some of the best comics on the shelves right now, and you should read them.
And that is a really sweet shirt.
It's pretty cool.
All right, your fourth pick.
My fourth pick is Dark Souls 3.
That's another good pick.
Which
another journalist darling.
Again, I think this one is the same thing you said about Persona 5. Everybody's got their Dark Souls fan, and they're going to give them Dark Souls 3 to review, and it's just going to get 9s and 10s across the board.
I did look,
unless they fuck it up.
Yeah, which I don't think they will.
Probably not, but it's already there. But I had to go for it.
I did look though. Most of the Dark Souls games are around 85 to 88, something like that.
You're right.
But your fourth pick, that's not bad anyway.
But I think it's hit the point where I think that part of that problem is that people were kind of finding their review legs on that series.
It could be.
And now I think most major sites have their Dark Souls guy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And they'll hand that over to them, and they will love it.
That's true. You're probably right. Hate to admit it, but you're probably right. All right. My next pick. This one might be a little risky. My next pick is The Last Guardian. I had to.
You better hope it's not 5 hours.
Yeah, I know.
Here's the funny thing is your draft, you are drafting all my favorite games.
Yeah.
It's you got No Man's Sky, you got Last Guardian, you got all this stuff that I'm just super excited about, but I'm afraid of.
Yeah. I'm not afraid of this one. I think people are going to freak out over this game.
All it's got to do is make you cry.
Exactly.
And it will.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna die. Trico's going to die.
One of them's going to die.
And that's going to boost every review at least 2 points.
Yep.
Or maybe they both die together as they're like, they die together drowning at the bottom of the ocean. They just slowly, that's how the game ends. They're sinking to the bottom of the ocean. And that's when I just watch the scores go cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Every game reviewer just hugs their dog and goes,
1-10 for Shane. I don't know. I mean, actually, Shadow of the Colossus didn't get huge review scores.
No.
I mean, it got around an 87, I think it was, or something like that.
You gave it an 80.
Yeah, but I think people have waited a long time for this game.
Yeah, but that also means the disappointment could be even bigger. I think a similar thing applies to Persona 5. Like, if it's not the most amazing thing you've ever fucking played, people are like, I waited 4 years for this. It's gonna be a thing.
I'm counting on the Japanese quotient.
Yeah.
Because there is a quotient there. It's like a part of the equation. It's like, is the game Japanese? Okay, yes. Times 0.125.
Is the menu infrastructure really fucking cool? Yeah. And Persona's got that one locked down.
Yep. I think Last Guardian, I don't think it's going to be 4 hours. I think it's going to be 20-some hours, and I think people are going to love it, and I think they're going to give it high scores.
Well, for the sake of this draft, I hope you're wrong, but for the sake of my love of Team Eco games, I hope you're right.
Yep. There we go. No matter what, you win, right?
Yeah, there's no downside. My next pick, we're on 4?
Your fifth pick.
Fifth pick. My fifth pick is Street Fighter 5.
You got a good draft going here, Matt.
Which is, I actually don't know about this one. I mean, I'm sure it could be, I feel like maybe
Street Fighter 4 got like a 93.
It did, but I feel like this one might end up in the 80s if people ding it for like, oh, the story mode's 4 months out, or like, I think the gameplay is too simple, because it is a little more streamlined than 4, so it might maybe people that, or I don't know who these characters are.
Mortal Kombat X does have a decent story mode, so
yeah.
If they hold it to that same
they're holding it to
plane.
Mortal Kombat standards, or even Blaze Blue standards, or Guilty Gear Exerd, or whatever they. I don't know. Why do you keep naming them weird shit? Triple Z Accent Corp. Call it 4.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, there's all those are very full-featured games. Like, there's some very complex story mode things going on there. And if you hold something without one to that standard, I feel like maybe you're knocking that down to an 80, but. Just when I played at the beta, it's really solid, so I thought it was a pretty safe pick.
I think it's a really safe pick, and to get it at number 5, like I had actually, until you made the pick, I had totally forgotten the aggregate score for Street Fighter 4, and then I remembered like talking to our reviewer at GT about his review score and how he has given it he wanted to give it like a 9.8, and we had like a long hour and a half discussion, and it got dropped down a bit. But, then I remembered, the aggregate ended up being, a 93, and I was like, you're, again, another good pick, man. I really can't begrudge most of your picks here, Matt. You're doing a good job. Certainly better than Marcus, I'll say that much. All right, my next pick, my fifth pick, is Deus Ex, Mankind Divided. I think that's probably my safest pick yet at my fifth pick.
I wish I had that one.
Yeah, it's... the aggregate, the last couple games have done around a 90. I think on Game Rankings it was a 91. On Metacritic it was an 89 or something, so it's averaging around a 9. Again, at the fifth pick, that's pretty much the best that you can hope for. At least that's the way I looked at it, although you shot for the stars and hit them with Street Fighter 5.
But this one, I think, it's August. It's coming. It's like the first big holiday game. It's going to be right at the end of the summer drought. It's going to be, it's going to be exactly what the doctor ordered. I think it's going to score really high.
Well, for once, you made me feel better about one of my picks instead of worse. Thanks, Matt. I appreciate that.
I ain't here to win it for you.
Now I'll be able to sleep tonight.
All right. Next pick would be Ratchet and Clank.
There's your first bad pick.
I don't know about that.
No, actually, your next pick wasn't Ratchet and Clank.
Was it?
No.
Yeah, it was.
No, it was Day of the Tentacle.
Yeah, it says Ratchet and Clank.
Oh, that's wrong. They're reversed.
Really?
Yeah, your next pick was Day of the Tentacle.
That makes sense then.
Yeah.
All right, reverse that.
Well, now you also know Matt's next pick.
Yeah, well.
Day of the Tentacle.
Day of the Tentacle remastered. This is a very simple one. People love the shit out of that game.
Yeah.
And
I don't think this is a good pick, though, Matt.
No?
No.
I think it's going to rate real well unless they screw it up. which they might.
I think even if they don't screw it up, I just think those old adventure games are a hard sell nowadays to these millennials.
Millennials. Well, that's why I'm counting on them to give this one to the old guy.
Yeah, you better hope so. The problem is, Matt, that old guy's already been fired from every website that it exists, except for this one. They're all a bunch of young kids now. The people who are our age aren't reviewing games anymore. They're either a VP somewhere or they're fired.
Yeah, but that means that...
Or let go.
These kids played this game when they were like 8, which means it's formative.
Yeah, it could be. I still think traditional adventure games are a hard sell nowadays.
I think you're right, but
even for me, I think it would be a hard sell.
I wouldn't pick Full Throttle Remastered for this.
Yeah.
But I will pick... Day of the Tentacle has this weird... Because look, I'm not actually a huge Day of the Tentacle fan, but it has this weird magical power over people that just makes them like turn into like battling idiots.
It's a Double Fine game, and that was, back when he was in his heyday.
Yeah, it's probably his best written game.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, look, I can see why you might, and look, it is your 6th pick, so you're starting to roll the dice a little bit with these picks at this point.
Yeah, I'm running out on some of these, but I finished strong. Wait for it.
Yeah, I feel like I finished pretty strong too. This next pick I'm not completely confident in, and that pick is The Legend of Zelda U. Hopefully that damn game comes out.
I think it's a great pick.
But it's the first open world game, and look, if you have games like Ghost Recon Wildlands that you're comparing to like Zelda, and if they don't find a unique twist on the open world thing, and
it's Zelda.
Yeah, but Skyward Sword didn't finish with that high of an aggregate. It was like a mid to high 8. I don't know. I don't feel good about it.
It's a guaranteed 90 plus, but
I picked it really high last year and I got burned by it.
Yeah.
And this year I picked it a little lower, and I think I still may end up getting burned by it. I just hope it comes out so I don't get a 0.
I think it will.
Yeah?
I'm pretty sure it will.
We'll see.
I'll be a little shocked if it doesn't.
It kind of has to.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. What else you got, frankly?
I hope so. I'm keeping my fingers crossed on that one.
I mean, they put that number up there at the end of that Twilight Princess HD trailer.
They did.
They put 2016 up there.
Yeah.
If they go back on that.
That's what I was thinking about when I made the pick. I was like, I did see that written out in the trailer, so we'll see. And we already know your next pick.
Next pick, Ratchet & Clank.
I think this is a bad pick, Matt.
I don't know if it's a bad pick. I mean, it might only hit the 80s. But
wait a minute. We have the graphic wrong somehow. I don't know what happened.
Did you skip one?
I must have. Somehow the graphics got screwed up. This is all messed up now. You're going to end up with 11 picks maybe.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of my picks.
Yeah, but way down, yeah.
All right, let's just go by
I guess it doesn't really matter the order, right?
No, it matters the order in which way we picked them, I guess, but we can kind of correct it as we go.
Yeah. So Horizon Zero Dawn.
Horizon Zero Dawn, which originally was my 9th pick when we did it.
Yeah.
When we actually did the draft. I was shocked you didn't pick this earlier.
Because I don't think it's going to make it this year. That's exactly why I didn't pick it at all.
Okay.
Yeah, it is my most anticipated game of 2016. I seriously don't think it's coming out.
I think it will. I think it'll review very well. I think again, it's so far down the draft that I don't really necessarily mind if it didn't come out this year, because I'm kind of going for a balance between something I think is going to score really high and something that may or may not make it.
Yeah.
And I think this thing's going to score through the roof, and so it was worth the risk to me.
Yeah. Well, if it does, it's got high upside, as they say in real fantasy drafts. Sometimes you take a risk on a pick with the idea that if it does come through, it pays big dividends. And because you actually really did pick that later on, that was a pretty good pick. I don't know how these graphics got so screwed up, by the way.
I don't know.
I must have been drunk when I put these graphics together. Although I know I wasn't, so maybe I have no excuse, actually.
You got halfway there.
Yeah. My next pick is Cuphead. Hopefully that's right. There it is. Looks like I got mine right and all yours wrong.
That's a good pick.
I think that's a really good pick at number 7. This game is definitely destined for a 9+. Mm-hmm. People gave it a 9+ already as soon as they played it at E3, pretty much. People are just freaking out over this game at E3, and it wasn't even as good as it's going to be. Obviously, we talked about in Game Face this week about how they delayed it to basically make it live up to all the awards it was given at E3. So people already loved it at E3 the way it was. They've given it more time to make it even better. I think this game is going to score really, really high, even though it's hard as balls.
I think, for sure.
All right, so Sam, our new TriCaster operator, how about you just show what is number
Tell us
8?
what the next pick is. Ratchet.
There it is.
So,
and this is a bad pick, still at number 8.
Probably more where it should be, I guess. But like, I think it's gonna, it's gorgeous. It looks amazing, and it's it's a solid known game, and it's an improvement over one of the most beloved games of the PS2 era. I think it's gonna score higher than you think.
I think it's going to get like around an 8. If that's okay for, well, you'd actually taken it at like 6th, I guess.
It was higher, higher pick.
At
Although
8,
I think maybe that, I could have sworn I picked Day of the Tentacle before that.
yeah.
Whatever.
I think it's going to end up around an 8.
Maybe.
Because
Maybe a little high. I think it's going to be closer to a 9.
We'll see.
I think those graphics are gonna wow some people.
I think you can look for that game to get the same score that Gravity Rush Remastered is getting right now, and it's settling in around 8, 8.2.
I think there's more sentimentality around Ratchet and Clank.
Could be. More saturated, though, too, because there's been several more games.
True. But it's been a while, and it has never looked this good.
Oh, yeah, no doubt
and
about
it's going back to the original relationship between those characters, and it's making it better. So I think it's gonna hit some people in the feels, and that's gonna turn into some points for me.
We'll see. All right, my next pick is Final Fantasy 15. I'm kind of surprised that game lasted so long.
Yeah, I still don't believe that's coming this year.
You really don't?
I don't know if I trust it.
Once they made it, they put out a press release announcing when they were going to announce the release date. That's when I was sold. I was like, look, if you're going to go that far to announce the release date, to put out a press release to say this is the day we're going to announce the release date, I was in. I figured at that point it's a done deal. Even Square Enix won't tolerate having that much egg on its face, delaying the game again. I mean, it's been how many years it's been in the making? 11 years. I mean, come on. If they finally announce a release date, which they never would, they never ever set a release date for the game. I figure it's finally at a place where we're going to see that game this year. Again, the demo, all the press impressions of the demo, even though I didn't like it that much, most of the rest of the press were all over it, loving it.
Well, let's see how they feel after 50 hours of it.
We'll see. But again, that's like my 8th pick.
Right.
Out of 10. Like, at that point, like, as long as
I can at least count on a Final Fantasy game to get you into the 8s.
Yeah, and if it gets an 8.5, winner.
Yeah.
It's good. A field goal. I'm cool with that. So I have a feeling it might score a little higher than that. We'll see. But for right now, 8.5 around the 8th pick, I'll take it.
All right. Hit me with my next pick. Mafia 3, which was originally, I think, 1 higher. I think it was 8.
This thing got so screwed up. I don't understand it.
Mafia 3, I admit this one's a little bit of a shot in the dark. But I think it's going to be unique enough in its setting and approach to the material that it's going to raise some eyebrows.
Yeah.
And people are going to give it, assuming it makes it this year. I don't know. But I think it's going to score higher than one might expect because I think it might be a fresher take on the material than we're ready for.
I think this game is definitely destined for an 8 out of 10. To me, that's like, this game looks like the definite, and look, again, we're basing it on like
one
trailers and like a gameplay demo. Yeah. But by the looks of the game, it looks like it has all the hallmarks of an 8 out of 10. So,
yeah.
But again,
I am also at the point where I'm like, I'm looking for games that I'm pretty sure are going to come out this year.
Yeah. Well, that was my strategy through this whole draft.
There's
it's
a
like
couple other
the game
things
needs
that
to
I thought
come
would
out.
score better, but I'm like, I don't think that's making it. So we'll try it.
We'll see. Again, a 9th pick. You can't ask for too much from your 9th pick.
Yeah, I don't expect this to be the Joe Montana circa 1986 of this draft.
Yeah, it is coming out.
Yeah, it's coming.
It'll be out this year. Like, those games don't get delayed. Like, it's a safe pick. And you're right. You're probably much guaranteed to at least get an 8 from that game, which isn't bad for your 9th pick. So for my 9th pick, and for me, this is my pick of the draft, and I think the pick of the entire SFL 2016 draft, Fire Emblem Fates.
All right.
Last game finished with a 93 aggregate score. This game should be just as good, if not better, after learning all the lessons of working on the 3DS the first time, to get a game that I am almost certain will get a 90 or higher with the 9th pick. Money in the Bank, brother.
Could be.
I
think all the reviewers are going to ding it because they're going to miss the minigame that lets you rub your brother.
Yeah, because there's no pet. They took the petting out. I was going to drop it a full point. It's like the inverse.
You can't undress the 13-year-old down to her bra and panties, so that's like, knock it down to an 8.2.
That's like the inverse of the Japanese quotient. The like censorship quotient is like the minus 0.25% or whatever. I'm really happy with that pick. 9th pick, Fire Emblem Fates. I think that game's going to get at least a 9.
I thought about it. I almost picked that instead of Mafia.
That is my favorite pick of this whole draft that I made. Like when I realized, I don't even know how I overlooked it the whole draft, because I had also put together like a sheet with like rankings or whatever. And for whatever reason, when I first ranked all the games, I had it way down at the bottom. Like here's my ranking sheet, by the way. Don't look too close. But I had it all the way at the bottom, and I just scanned down my list, and I was like, holy crap, what was I thinking? Fire Emblem Fates. It's going to carry me to back-to-back championships in the SFL. All right, Matt, here's your last pick of the draft.
I thought this was a pretty good pick, too, because you forgot about it.
Yeah.
I don't know, not sure about it, but last pick, Pokemon Go.
Yeah. That's a good pick.
Could tank.
It's no Fire Emblem Fates.
No, it's not Fire Emblem Fates. But if this thing is any good, if it's a Nintendo spin on an old, popular, if not perfected, mobile strategy and formula, this thing could be through the roof. This thing could be like nothing. This thing could be something. This thing could be what all these other people are hoping VR is going to be. It's more of an AR thing.
Here's what I would say. Is if this league was based upon sales and revenue generated, that would be the number 1 overall pick in the draft, I think. I think that game, as long as it gets out early enough, could generate the most money of any game on this entire draft.
I'm already assuming that there's even going to be a Metacritic score for that.
Yeah.
I mean, I assume people would review the first
they're going to review.
Nintendo
Yeah. They are going to review Pokemon Go, without a doubt. I mean, they're already reviewing, there's lots of mobile game reviews.
Yeah.
I mean, almost all the main sites reviewed Lara Croft Go and Hitman Go. So they're definitely going to review Pokemon. Why are they all called Go? Why is that?
Because you carry them when you go.
Right, but why is it
you play them on the toilet. That's why they're called.
You're right. It's just funny that all mobile games that started as traditional console or handheld games, when they go over to mobile, they're always called Go.
Well, it's even weirder with Pokemon because they've always been handheld.
Yeah, exactly.
I've always gone with Pokemon.
Exactly. It's redundant, isn't it? That's like calling it Pokemon. What the hell's wrong with these people?
Pokemon cockfighting. What was that? That's what we've always done.
All right. So the very last pick of the 2016 SFL draft.
And the chat will be happy about this, believe you me.
You think so?
Oh, they've been asking for it for a while.
Really?
Yeah.
I told you. Overwatch.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll take that.
It's a Blizzard game. It's no-brainer.
What I think is going to be the top-reviewed first-person shooter of 2016, at least as I stand right now, until we see the new Call of Duty, maybe.
You don't think Homefront's going to edge in on this one? Yeah.
I can't believe it wasn't your first overall pick. So again, what I think is going to be the top-reviewed shooter of 2016, to get that with the 10th pick and 20th overall, I'll take it. At least an 8 there. At least an 8, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
It's definitely coming out. I feel like I think all my games are going to come out this year, whereas last year I think I was 50-50. I thought half of them would and half of them wouldn't, and I think 7 out of 10 actually did come out. I think actually all 20 of these games are going to make it out this year.
Yeah, I think they were pretty safe. Overall, we were pretty safe on picks for year of release.
I like seeing...
As opposed to last year, where you guys picked a bunch of stuff that didn't make it.
Oh, I know. Half of Marcus's team never made it out. I do like seeing people say, "How the hell is it at 10?" That's what I like to see. That's when you know you made a good pick. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's see some predictions from you sifters. What are you thinking here? And obviously you can put them in the comments on the archive on sifted.net, but how about our live people watching the stream?
I think it's going to be a lot closer than last year.
Let's see. W. Matthew, it's close. If nothing gets pushed, Shane wins. Dyson XP, Shane looks pretty strong. He didn't pick a winner, though. There's Dogface Pig. Where have you been at all night, dude? You're always on our streams. We've been missing you.
He's been trolling for stuff that's never going to make it this year all night.
Oh, gotcha.
Or was Amy Hennig's Star Wars game better be on the draft? He said, I was like, they haven't even told us the title of that. Yeah, it's not coming out this year.
Solo Dolo. Yeah, I got to say, Shayna's looking like... You guys are all jinxing me. You're all saying I'm the favorite. Now all my games are going to get canceled, and they're never going to come out. All right. Well, it looks like, based upon some of you folks, I'm the early favorite. It'll be interesting to see on the comments when it's archived on SIFTD.net what everybody thinks. I honestly think it's a total toss-up. Like, I think you drafted very well, Matt. I think you did a really, really good job. I don't think I have an advantage at all. I think it's...
I don't regret any of my picks.
Yeah, I think you did a really good job. Definitely way better than Marcus. No doubt about that. Funny what a little preparation will do for you.
Yeah, well, also, like, Marcus just picked the stuff he wanted to play.
Yeah.
He wasn't thinking about the objective.
Actually winning, yeah. So I think it's going to be a lot closer this year. It actually wasn't that much of a blowout last year because both of us kind of...
Yeah, you won pretty handily.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been more interesting if everything had come out.
For sure. Yeah. It definitely would have been closer. But I think we got a good contest. We will be checking back in on this on Game Face throughout the year as games come out. We'll definitely do it more than we did last year because actually once Marcus left, it seemed kind of pointless to keep checking in on it when I didn't have anyone to no face to rub it in. So
yeah.
We'll be checking in on Game Face as games come out and updating you guys on the season. If you guys didn't know already, there are people setting up fantasy video game drafts in our forums right now. So just click on the community link in the header, and you'll see the threads there. People are trying to get leagues together. You can play head-to-head. You can play with groups of 10. You can get as many people involved as you want. Just keep in mind, the more people that you have, the more diluted the pool of games gets. But that actually is when it gets a little more interesting, because then you really put like your knowledge to the test, because you're digging a little deeper, starting looking at more indie games and things like that. So I encourage you to do it. It's fun. It'll be a lot more fun than I did it with you, and you're going to be around so we can talk about it and sort of make observations about it. So head on into the forums if you guys want to do it yourselves. Maybe I'll jump into a league with you guys if you get one together. Maybe one night we can all just jump on a chat or something like that and make it happen. But good luck, Matt. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if you can dethrone the champ. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks, everybody on the stream. We'll see you next time.